What I want to ground us in today is this: AI, digital transformation, and agile ways of working are not three separate initiatives. Too often, organizations treat them like disconnected projects: an AI pilot here, a digital upgrade there, a few agile teams on the side. But the truth is, they're threads of the same fabric. When woven together, they create the conditions for organizations not only to adapt, but also to lead. My name is iwA, and through iAvva, AI, Innovate with Authenticity, I help leaders see how those threads can be woven together to create organizations that are efficient, resilient, and human centered. If you're enjoying the show, I'd love your support. Please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and share your comments. Your feedback means a great deal and helps us continue to build these conversations together. For HR leaders, this means embedding AI in ways that enhance the employee experience, build trust, and foster a sense of belonging. For tech leaders, it means focusing less on shiny tools and more on solutions that deliver measurable outcomes, efficiency, resilience, and scalability. And for all of us, it means recognizing that culture, process, and technology must evolve together. And that brings me to today's conversation. Get together and listen to the conversation now.
Hi, Samant. How are you?
Hey, good, Deva. How are you?
I'm good. How's your day today?
Very good. And thank you for having me here.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm super excited that you're on our call today. So, you're listening to today, we have Samant Kumar. Did I get your name right?
Yes, Samant Kumar.
Samant Kumar, and he is an expert in Agile. He is a program manager at Capgemini, not to be confused with Google Gemini. But here we are. So welcome to iAvva.ai, Innovate with Authenticity. Today we have Samant, and we're going to talk about next gen Agile and AI conversations. I am excited. Samant is multiple award-winning portfolio manager and Agile program manager at Capgemini, just as I mentioned, and with over 2 decades of experience in Agile and project management. And Simon is not just a thought leader in this space, but he's also a certified expert holding credential in the Agile space. And his leadership is in Agile coaching, innovation, and project delivery. And he has earned a lot of prestigious honor like Global Award, Global Recognitions Award, and Claro Award. Um, well, he is a sought after speaker as well at the global conference like Agile 2024 and PMI Houston. And he's a judge for innovation competitions, as well as a contributor to platforms such as Scopus and DZone. So today, let's talk about how we explore Agile is evolving around the AI era and what it means for human resource leaders, IT leaders, and the future of program management. So, are you ready?
Yep, of course. Thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Yes, so the first thing is you have an extensive experience in your career, Samant. So tell us your journey into Agile program management and how your role at Cap Germany, uh, Capgemini has
Mhm.
really evolved.
Yeah. Thank you so much, first of all, Eva, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And I would like to convey my greetings to all the listeners and who are watching this podcast. So, agile journey, right? I strongly feel that agile journey begins when any human born, because in agile, right, what agile is a feedback loop. We learn from our experiences, right, and we tune ourselves accordingly, right? It's like a baby. When a baby get born, right, and based on the experiences, baby get adapt, right, to the surroundings, to learn it, right. And if you have to fail, we fail fast, learn fast, and act fast, right. So considering that my agile journey, I mean, of course, I did my engineering, I did my MBA, and then I got opportunity in IBM, and I played like close to 1 decade of inning in IBM, and that is where my agile journey in software begins. In life, it of course it's begins way back, but in software in 2011, where I first introduced to the agile in software, and where I did my certification and got the trainings. And my first agile project was one of the agile transformation, which is one of with big client. So I've been fortunate that, because people may have skill, may have trained, but if they don't have a battlefield, right, where they can show their skill, where they can show their competency, then your skills and ammunition will be just with you only. But I have been very fortunate that I have been part of many agile transformation with big corporate. And my first was one of the corporate where they were not only doing digital transformation, but also the agile transformation, or with the help of agile transformation, they are actually achieving the digital transformation. So that is where my journey begins. And since then, rest is history, because I have played multiple roles. I have been PM earlier, and then I played Scrum Master role. I have played release train engineer role. I have played the release engineer role. Then gradually moved to even sometime as a acting BA role, or also as a acting PO role, which is product owner role. Because when product owner was not there, even I have played the role of product owner many times in the engagements. And then gradually it rise to the agile program management, where I manage multiple agile teams. I did coaching of the team from the ground level teams, as well as from the middle management level, and then even exec at the VP level as well. So that's how the journey went. And then currently I'm working as a portfolio manager and agile program manager, where I manage a big program with the 5 agile teams.
Wow, that is a fantastic career. And as a fellow um, professional in the digital transformation field, right? Like I can definitely relate to what you're saying. You know, when we're working in a consulting setting,
Hmm.
sometime we go in and we are working as uh, an advisor, and sometime we're rolling up the sleeves, and first thing we know, we're rolling out as a scrum master, and then we hand it over to the team and we move on to the next. So it's definitely bring back some really good memory for me as well, when I was working for big enterprise programs, and
Wonderful.
that's something that is very nice to share, because a lot of time you see, if you work in a traditional setting, you definitely get a chance to go deep. But I also appreciate, what you share, because a lot of time we go in organizations and we have a chance to go wide as well. So a
Hmm.
very, very fun experience. So what are some of the common challenge that you observe in digital transformation, and how have you addressed them in your roles?
Mhm. That's a very good question, Eva, you ask, and that is actually million dollar question, because in agile industry, that's everybody asks this question. So the number one challenge is the agile mindset, because as somebody said, right, it is your attitude which determines your altitude, right? So similarly in agile, any agile transformation, success first depend on the agile mindset. Now, when we talk about agile mindset, it's not just for one person or one team. It's a whole enterprise agile mindset. And of course, it starts with the leaders, right? Because leaders are the examples, right? Leaders are the examples that whatever a leader do, right? They a whole world follows them, right? So it starts from the top. And that's why people ask that, hey, is agile transformation is a bottom up approach or top down approach? And I always say it's a hybrid approach, because first you have to coach your executives, your leaders, unless they convinced, unless they have agile mindset, right? Even though we train the ground level teams, even though we deploy all the agile tools like Jira, Azure DevOps, right? Version 1, Rally, right? But unless agile mindset is there, you will not able to understand the outcome of those tools, processes, right? So agile mindset is one of the challenge which which is not a overnight journey. It's not like after 2 days of training somebody can become having agile mindset, but it's a everyday effort. It's a iterative and incremental process, and coaching is the first step, and then training is first step. As I said, usually that knowledge and realization, these are two different things, right? Knowledge, of course, you attend some training, you attend some coaching, you have the knowledge, but unless you put into practice, right, your knowledge has no value. It's like a recipe, right? I may have the recipe of best donut, right, but unless I really prepare it and taste it, right, my recipe has no value. It's just a knowledge, right? So similarly, when we start with the agile mindset, it's first the coaching to the top leadership, and then it boil down, because leadership, they should be the catalyst. It's not like they just hire one agile coach and they say, hey, train my team and show me the result, right? It's not like magic when they, hey, show me the result. But each agile leader can be a catalyst, and making them is sometimes very difficult, because of course executives are busy, they don't have much time. But if they really wanted to see agile transformation in their team or enterprise, they need to be a catalyst, and making them catalyst is depend on how good a coach is, right, how good a trainer is, and then how agile leader absorb, right? I mean, rain is falling everywhere, but uh, who will absorb more, right? Whichever has bigger bucket, they can collect more rainwater, right? It's like that. So that is number one reason. And then second is uh, the right choice of the tools, because I really believe that, just like in olden days, right, whenever any battlefield happened, if somebody is fighting with the bow and arrow, and on other side if they get cannon, right? So it makes a difference, right? So right choice of agile tools is also play a crucial role. It can save a lot of your effort, so that your non-core task can be taken care by tools, and then you can focus on actual value add, working with the stakeholders, understanding their requirement, and deliver what they want, right? So these are the two. And then third is, of course, having the right framework uh, in place, because it's not like one t-shirt size, right? People sometimes say, hey, is waterfall is bad, agile and scrum is good. I say, who said that, right? It's not like waterfall is bad, agile is good, or scrum or kanban. It depends on what is your need, right? Utility is the principle, right? What is your need? And based on your need, you can map which framework is good. No framework, no process is bad. They have their own application, right? But just forcefully putting one framework just because other industry it is successful, it's not the case. But we have to understand what is my need for that, right? So these are the three top challenges, I would say.
Yes, and it's such a joy, hearing you speak, because all I'm thinking about now is dessert and and buckets and arrow. No, I mean, my point is that I really enjoy how you're making a complex, concepts and work into very manageable and relatable terms. So, and I do agree that. Sometimes, like a lot of time leaders are just busy. So even when you're um, coaching them and you're advising them, it's good to have this vocabulary so that they can definitely relate. So very fun.
Yeah.
So how do you so you mentioned some tools, right? So uh, what do you think of collaboration tools? How do these tools facilitate agile practice in your teams, and especially in the hybrid work environment?
Mhm. Another very good question, and especially this question was very sought during COVID time, right? Because when everybody went remote, right? Suddenly, like
Mhm.
pre-COVID, we were all face to face, right? We were
Uh-huh.
all working in the same conference room, and I have seen the plannings happen when big charts, sticky notes we used to put in glass walls, right? And then in COVID was really opportunity for more collaboration tool. Although in one of the agile transformation we already started using the collaboration tools even much before. uh, because we have multiple teams and global team, right? They are in different time zone, and having collaboration sitting in one room is not possible. So we have already adopted that time that, hey, for our global team we need a good collaboration tool. And there are many collaboration tools, and especially the collaboration tools like Mural and Miro. These are leading tools. You can do everything what you supposed to do in a room, whether it's a brain mapping, whether you are doing a retrospective, you are doing a your release planning, you want to do your program increment planning, right? Or any activity which you're thinking the thought process or hackathon, you can do with these tools. Of course, I am not a uh, seller of these tools, but I'm an advocate of that because I have used them and I have seen the productivity these tools can bring on the table. And then, of course, there are agile tools like Jira and Azure DevOps. They are also wonderful tools because this is what I believe, that people should not waste time in doing the paperwork, right? Documenting it, or wasting stationery like charts, sticky notes, right? Rather, they can use those things when they do planning, right? They should be tools to do that, right? And that's why there's a saying that if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail, right? I repeat, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, right? And for planning, you should have tools to do. Otherwise, you'll be wasting time in using not using those tools and documenting other things in non-core task, which will waste your thought process. You'll lose your train of thoughts, and then you'll spend time in non-core activity. Rather, if tools are there, then you can take care. For example, AI, right? Nowadays, meeting notes, right? Meeting notes, and then drafting long emails, drafting long documents, right? AI is helpful, right? It's a we should use as those tools as your toolbox in the toolbox, so that whenever you can pull it and then use it for your, and then the more time you should spend in actually thinking about the value stream mapping, that what value we are adding, right? It's not just having 10 features in our backlog and then say, hey, these are our plan, but what what is the priority of these features, right? Rank them, and what value they are bringing to the customer, right? And we have to often visit that, because as somebody said, that plans are useless, planning is important.
Mhm.
Why plans are useless, sir? Because it's not just one time planning.
Mhm.
You have to constantly plan,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's not like you just do plan or say, hey, now I stick to, I get married to this plan and then I have to survive. No, you have to constantly plan.
Uh-huh.
Planning, one time planning is your baseline. Take the baseline, proceed, but at the constantly you should plan. It reminds me a scenario that one time, one of the team, they worked 6 months, and then when it come for the release, we were looking for some approvals, right? We were looking for approvals from the business, and when we went for the business, business could not give you approval because they said that, hey, our priority changes, right?
Yeah.
Our priority changes. Uh, then we were discussing with the PM that, hey, what happened? They say, yeah, we priority change because PMs were busy in all the execution tasks. They could not have cope up with the constant changes of the business, right? So nothing to blame anybody, but it is about that the more time we should spend with our stakeholders, understanding their need, if anything changes, right? Because change is the only constant in our business, right?
Mhm.
And then tune your plan according to the changes, because at the end of the day, what we are delivering is customer is the king, right? So we
Mhm.
should delight them, and often show the frequent demos,
Yeah.
frequent working software, not like Big Bang, that hey, 6 months of work showing now. No, every 2 week we should do a incremental demo to our customer, or if customer is not available, voice of the customer or pilot customer, so that we get a constant feedback. And these tools play a crucial role because they have their insight capability, like they have BI capability. You can generate a big dashboard, right? You can show those KPI, key performance indicators, right? It can give you where you are, what is your leading indicator, what is your lagging indicator, right? well, what is your burn down chart, right? Burn up chart, where you need to focus more, right? And now some of these tools also have AI coming. So those are very helpful.
Yeah. That really, while you were speaking, like I can literally visualize what you're saying. It's really fun since we're in the same space. But I would say even yesterday, um, I was coaching and training a group of small and medium businesses
Hmm.
owners, and they're so smart and bright. But still, like the same concept that I'm honing on is like change is constant. So keeping keeping close to our customers is very important, especially now with AI, with a lot of change in AI and fast change. Our
Hmm.
customers also change too. Like,
Yep.
you're right. Like a part of that is the priorities that change that really sometimes dependent on the external factors. I work with
Yep.
some energy, uh, renewable energy companies, and there, there's compliance. Policy
Yep.
change. They have to react to that. And, I work with international groups, and there's so many changes nowadays. So, uh, we were just going through like event persona, our ideal clients, and we also were going through um, a business plan and customer journey and all of that. And we realize that this, just like you say, this is not something aesthetics that we've done it once and put it away, but it's something
Yep.
that you constantly have to visit because the customer demands are changing and the external environment are changing that make the internal environment change as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
Definitely. Yep.
yeah,
Definitely.
so that's a great nugget there. So let's talk about retrospective and continuous improvement. That's
Hmm.
those are the big things. But I'm tempted to ask you this. Um, so before going into that, of course, these are the two things that I, cherry very much so in our line of work. But what are your thoughts about Agile? Is that always going to be a good thing to use Agile, or there's sometimes it's better to be more like a traditional project, management, or some other times maybe, because Agile, we give a lot of times and space for team to make their own decision. Is that always good? Is Agile is always good?
Yeah. I mean, you asked two questions in one package, um, because you are smart. So anyway, so yeah. So first of all, right, agile and retrospective, right? So answer to your question, do agile is always good in all the situation? No. It's like you are saying that, hey, is one drink is good in all the season? No, right? Each
Or we should
season
just
has,
eat the dessert instead.
yeah. So exactly. So it's like, for example, if somebody has to build a house or build a bridge or build a project which has blueprint are already defined, and there's no change expected in that blueprint, right? Of course, then waterfall traditional method, where we do upfront do full planning. We have a cost fixed, everything, all your parameters are fixed, scope is fixed, cost is fixed, right? So in that case, of course, traditional project management is suitable. But nowadays what happened is, now most of the industries, they have one element common, which is called change, and they wanted to change more frequently. For example, you take mobile industry, car industry, right? Or any electronics industry, right? Or any kind of machinery industry. They wanted to constantly change their product, right? It's not like they made the product and say, hey, my 10 years I'm good, right? So whenever such requirement is there, that there is a constant change expected, then agile is indispensable. Now, when we say agile, it does not mean that you follow one specific, because agile is an umbrella. And under that umbrella, there are many uh, methods are there, right? Practices are there. So, but the principle is same. right? Manifesto is same, but practices you can use a framework like Scrum, right? You can use Kanban, right? These two are the most used in the industry, right? But there are other framework like XP, right, and others they can also use. But at the end of the day, as long as principle is followed, right, the spirit is followed, practices they can tune, right? Because practices we should not put in stone, and otherwise it become more prescriptive, and when it become more prescriptive, it take away the autonomy of the team.
Yeah.
And once it takes the autonomy of the team, then there will be a struggle to innovate, and also there will be a limitation, right? So so answer to your question, no, we should not take autonomy. We
Mhm.
should give rather autonomy, so that based on their need they can do. For example, yeah, just to give example, right? See, if some companies are building a software and they have defects coming up, right? Now pair programming, right, where two developers work together, they test each other work, give feedback to each other, pair programming. Now it's not part of Scrum. It is coming from different framework. But we sometimes, even we are implementing Scrum, we bring that. Why?
Yeah.
Because that is the need of the time, right? There, if you have defects increasing, right, just because you are following Scrum, you cannot say, hey, I'm not allowed to take practice from other framework, right? Because I'm following Scrum. No, man, then you're not agile, because then you are limiting yourself, right? That's
Uh-huh.
why one thing I use for people, I say agile is for us, we are not for agile.
Yeah.
People say, what do you mean by that? I say, no, agile is for us. Okay. We are not for agile. We are not just a brand ambassador of agile, but rather agile is created for our usage.
Mhm.
And now we can tune it, those practices based on our need, right? So
Yeah.
that's what answer to your one question. The second question is retrospective. Now, this is one of the most important ceremony of agile or Scrum, and least paid attention to. Most important, but least paid attention. And retrospective is not new. I give you example again. In olden days, right, when parents used to marry, right, if they have uh, two, three daughter, and they have to marry one daughter, they do the marriage, and before doing the second daughter's marriage, what they do, they analyze. They say, oh, how was the decoration good? How was the food, right?
Mhm.
What went well? What did not go well?
Uh-huh.
What is to improve in the next marriage, right? So what they were doing, they were not even educated in Agile or Scrum, but they were doing retrospective,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
They were doing retrospective, that, hey, what went well, and then improve the next marriage, right? So this retrospective we have been doing for centuries, just in software that it was introduced, but we forget to do that. And we always feel that, hey, keep doing execution. No, every sprint, we have to pause at the end of the sprint, give time to team and room, and do a retrospective. And usually I have seen that people invite leaders in the retrospective. And I told my scrum master, do not invite any leader in this retrospective. They say, why not? And leaders also ask, why not we invited? I say, if you join, then team will never share honest feedback,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And they will give you sugar coated feedback, which is useless, which will which will be useless. Your board will be decorated, but your team will not improve. So always keep scrum master, your team, and then product owner, and they would do honest. Now there are techniques also to do the retrospective, because it's not like vanilla, because otherwise people get bored. There should be a fun in learning and
Mhm.
fun in retrospective. So there are many fun techniques. The one is called speed car retrospective. Then there is a called speedboat retrospective. Like,
Mhm.
just to give example, right? Speed car retrospective, we say, all right, this car engine is your strength of your team. So tell me, what are the strength of your team? So then team member put down, hey, these are our strength. Because we should know what is our strength, right? unless team knows their strength, unless they know what are the good things we are doing, which we need to continue to do that, right? And then behind the car there is a parachute, and we have to ask, hey, what is that which is slowing this car speed, which is like parachute, right? So they list down, hey, these are the things which is slowing us down. Then as the car moves, uh, in the journey, right, in the journey there are some dangers on the road. So ask them that, hey, this is 1 6 month of PI, or whatever the duration, right, you plan for. In this journey, what do you think that what are the dangers ahead? And I tell you, these days, all those resources, what we say, they are people, right? I prefer to use the word people, but all the people, they are knowledge people. They are very much knowledgeable. They bring on board their experiences. So if you ask them, what do you think, what are the journeys in this journey, what are the dangers coming, they will list down in the sticky notes saying that, hey, your architecture is weak, right, your process is weak, your tools are will not be working, right? So they will tell you upfront, so
Mhm.
that in first sprint, if you do, let's say if you're doing program increment, and after first sprint you do this retrospective, which I typically do speed car, your remaining 5 sprint will be saved. So
Yeah.
you know the strength, you know what is slowing you down, what are the dangers, and or whatever the ditch coming, and then you can ask them, how can we bridge those dangers? But that's your suggestions from the team. So you bridge that, and then based on all this discussion, you come out with action items which will feed as input to improve your next sprint, and sprint by sprint, like that. So that way, there is a saying that forewarned is forearmed.
Yes. Very cool. I have an idea for you, Samant. Would you be open to it for your book?
Yeah, definitely. I have like 20 years of wisdom. So definitely,
Yes.
all
So,
right, maybe
I
we
mean,
both can
I
join hands.
do, yeah, I really do enjoy a lot, like a lot of the metaphor today,
Yeah.
one idea, you could also write maybe 10 books, but one of them could be how do you translate agile methodologies into everyday metaphors for companies? Something like that. Wouldn't that be so fun? I
That's
hear about
fantastic.
food,
That's fantastic
wedding,
idea.
car race, uh, parachute,
Mhm.
cannon, the list go on. And actually that's really stick in your mind. So
Yeah.
very fun there, very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I strongly feel that, the knowledge which is there in our brain,
Uh-huh.
unless you put into practice, it does not crystallize into realization. That's why, uh, a this is my personal belief, that a true knowledgeable person does not speak from the brain,
Mhm.
he speaks from his heart. Because all the knowledge which whatever is in your brain, when you put into practice and have experience, it crystallizes into realization. That's why in our olden days we used to tell kids, hey, you learned your lesson by heart, not by brain.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, and also you said a lot of good nuggets there from, actionable actions to do a really good retrospective and continuous improvement. And you definitely handle my questions very well. So definitely kudos. And the next thing is, it made me think, right? Like, definitely, in retrospective, it's time for the team to really get together to think about what we can improve and create that psychology safety. Uh,
Mhm.
but on the other hand, like it's funny because like in some of the planning sessions at the beginning of the week, like this one time, I remember we're there coaching teams and literally, we had actually to call in some of the executive and leader because the team was just like, I don't understand this objective and key results OKR. And without that, we can't really move forward. So even we're doing agile, but we still have to make it tied to the priorities and the outcome. And I
Yes.
remember it was so nice because at the end of it, the stakeholders said, "You're right. Let's have the regroup before we actually plan out the 3 months. Let's have a time where we actually realign on our objectives." So fun memory. But now talking about planning um, and alignment, how do you conduct planning sessions to ensure team alignment and a shared vision?
Another wonderful question. You got a very good question, Eva. I really impressed with all the questions you're sharing. Um,
Yeah, it's
so
not free.
planning.
I'm going to charge you for it after.
So I will pay with another podcast.
Excellent answer.
Yeah. Anyway, so planning, right? As I said, that if you fail to plan, right, you're planning to fail, and you have to constantly plan. But of course, baseline planning is required because sometimes people say that, hey, does agile mean that no forecast, no roadmap? I say, who said that? We need forecast, leadership need forecast, we need roadmap, right? Because we cannot say leadership that, hey, just wait and watch, right? No, we have to give some baseline forecast and raise some risk, have risk mitigation plan in place, right? Those are the fundamentals of project management. But planning, where as far as planning is concerned, I strongly advocate for any program, right? Before we do any big room planning. So big room planning is a must for any program. But even before we do big room planning, there are some prerequisite required, right? There should be some vision from your product owner, and that vision should have been converted into some high level features or epic. In agile terms they called epics, or some features, right? Detailed out as much as possible, whatever product owner knows. Let's just unload whatever there on the mind of product owner, right? Because when we do the planning, right, we don't want to waste time going back to business again and again. Rather, business input should be captured first. They should rank, they should have their backlog first. They should prioritize them, rank them, right? And detail them as much as possible, right? Proper backlog refinement should be done, right? We should know our team, right? Who's who. We should know who's who is involved, right? And we should know what is my capacity as well. And once we have all those ingredients, right, then you do your big room planning. And that big room planning should have all the stakeholders, because that's what we ask that team that 2 days of planning, especially in safe also they recommend 2 days, but it's not on the stone. We have also many times we did 3 days also, right? So it depends on what is your team size, how big your backlog is, how complex your system is, right? Based on your need, you can decide a big room planning that is required, where all stakeholders should be there. Because we have seen that if even your one key stakeholder is not there, you will be at high risk. You may do your planning, and later on, be just because of one stakeholder does not agree, your whole plan can get upset. So this is very, very important that when we do one big room planning, that time you should have all your stakeholders on board, so that whatever your decision will be taken, you take as a common decision. If that activity has been done properly, I would tell you that will put you more than 60% at success. One big room planning done successfully. And that's why, in the scaled agile framework, SAFe, they say PI planning, which is say program increment planning. They say the only magic is there in SAFe is the PI planning, which is those 2 days of planning they do with all the stakeholders, all the teams. There is no coding we do, there is no execution. The only thing is we do planning in those 2 days. So in pre-COVID days, right, we used to order whole breakfast, lunch, sometime dinner also, right?
Yeah.
And do
And
the big room.
candy.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, and it's a fun because many times, right, those 2 days you meet all your stakeholders. Otherwise, everybody is behind the email, and there is a repo, there's zero repo, right? But in those 2 days, you meet all your stakeholders, you build up a repo, you have a plan shared, right? You know how we're gonna work, what would be our communication plan, what would be our agile ceremonies, what would be our cadence of collaboration, what are the tools we will be using, right? So those things will set you to the success. And then of course your business is there, business will explain, hey, what we want from IT to do. Your architects are there, they will explain the basic architecture runway, what are the plan. And then IT team will brainstorm those, uh, make a draft plan, and then walk through that plan, show that plan to the business, get the feedback. Will this plan work? If not, then tune it. So those 2 days of planning will really set you to the great success. And of course, you nowadays you don't need charts, sticky notes. You can use your Mural, Jira, or Miro, or Azure DevOps tools, and then all your planning will be documented. So when you walk out of 2 days, it's not like, oh, next 1 week you will be doing documentation. No, your plans are set. You just do your first sprint planning, and then get it to the success. And then what leadership get is, out of those 2 days of planning, they get a roadmap,
Mhm.
they get a big picture, they get the forecast. So they will be satisfied. They, wow, wonderful. The same roadmap forecast, leadership keep asking months and months, which you are getting after the 2 days of planning. And then those are the baseline work. Of course, I'm not saying those are in stone, but at least you have some baseline goalpost, right? Otherwise, without goalposts, your goalpost is always moving, right?
Yeah.
So
So it's, it's so interesting. Every time you actually dive into a question that I ask, like it also make me think of all the great memory. I mean, when I say candy, I'm not joking. It was like 2 days, and I remember one of the
yeah,
big digital transformation coming in, and we walked through lunch, and the only thing available then was like, I mean, we didn't walk through lunch, but early on in the day, and then um clients had lunch, but we're like keep preparing in the background. So those candies were really helpful. But then I remember like even in early days, we're doing like PI planning, and we have like this huge board like that take several huge ladders to get up, and we have all of this, everyone have to climb up and get like sticky notes there, and so we end up like staying until midnight just to translate everything on the computer so that we
computer, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
didn't
Now
miss
we don't need,
anything.
you can directly do in virtual tools.
Yeah, so and then after like this early days doing those things, but then after we got better, so then we prepared the team to make sure they're doing like Azure DevOps, like bringing everything in and have it concurrently. So it was so much smoother. But yeah, like those days, I remember we were eating at like Applebee like at midnight because like nowhere else is open. Um, so that's very fun memory. But innovation and hackathons. I remember early days, I'm segmenting to a different question now. So some of the time, like working with the development teams and really help them to get hackathon, like people just stay overnight. And nowadays they don't do it anymore. So I know I'll pay for it the next day, but when, talking about big room planning and all of the ceremonies, we cannot talk about innovation and hackathons, right? So,
Yep,
can you
yep,
share an experience where a hackathon or innovation spirit led to a significant outcomes in the digital transformation?
yeah, definitely. Hackathon innovation reminds me, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So uh, when there is a necessity, definitely there is opportunity to innovate. But it reminds me that one of the agile transformation program, we convince the leadership that give us one day when no regular work team will do, and we will organize a hackathon. And what we want from you, as I said, necessity is the mother of invention, that we want from our product owner or business to share some of the challenges or problems which they would like to solve. and give all the facility to the team, right? And tell them whatever tools you wanted to use it, and give us some innovative idea. We did exactly that. Somehow team leadership convinced. We order the lunch, dinner. We were there late evening there. You will not be believing that within one day, team develop a app, and that app they showed it to the VP, and VP installed that app and was looking at that app, and they created in one day. If the regularly you give such work, people take 3 to 6 months to create that app. And of course, I'm not saying that app is fully well furnished, but all the basic functionality what business want to solve, right? Because that's a digital transformation. They wanted to avoid paperwork and other thing, right? They created that within one day. And that is the power of leadership, power of trust, and power of freedom to the team. Because as I said, that all the peoples nowadays, they are knowledge people. They they have lot of experience, and not only lot of experience from the industry, but from their personal life also. They keep doing innovation which they can bring to the industry, given a chance, given all the facilities. And I remember that during that time, we try to incorporate one of the BI tool into our website to create a dashboard, auto dashboard. So so we called multiple BI tools folks to give a demo, to give a trial version, to try out that one. And that was so good. And that time it was so innovation that everybody was excited about the result. And when the final demo we did to the business, it was so good that business was so impressed. Now that one day of hackathon, it becomes a trend, and every quarter there is a one day or sometimes 2 days of hackathon they do, depending upon what the problem statement they give, and it become a trend. And now it's so successful for that. So that's a power of hackathon. And I have attended hackathons as a participant, and also I have been judge, as you mentioned in the starting, that I have been judge to many hackathons, start from the school level to the college level and to the industry level. And I have seen that with those hackathon really empowers people to bring more ideas.
Yeah, very fun. Absolutely agree to that. But it's funny because now, like I use Cursor or Livable or she knows like AI all day long, right? So absolutely what you mentioned is so valuable. Like pre age of AI, like it takes a long time, and I mean, getting an app in a day is exponentially amazing. But imagine now, like you have an idea, you can test it out within minutes, right?
Yep.
And and now we're talking about it, and I really love it how I can show it to clients who, a quick demo, using AI, using just and actually,
Yep.
the other day, I just told you, like, my computer is so slow. I even download Python, but even with the help with all of this AI tools, like I do both. I don't code, do vibe coding, but looking at um, all of this programs really help to see, oh, this is the logic, this is where this is going, and it's so fast. So now we're transitioning into AI topics. So um, we talk about hackathons and innovation, but let's talk about integrating AI into Agile in our world now. So, in what ways have you seen AI being integrated into Agile workflows, and what impact has it had?
Yeah. So that's another beautiful question. And now, you know, close to 15, 20 years right back, they have the buzzword called agile, right? Or what you call fancy word, right? So, but now the new fancy word is AI, right? Everybody is mesmerized by the power of AI. So definitely, AI is very important. Um, in one of the university, Texas A&M, I delivered a lecture, AI versus RI. So artificial intelligence versus real intelligence, right? So of course, AI is very, very useful, depending upon how you use it, right? If you totally depend on AI for even your creativity, then it will take away your innovation, or limit your innovation, if not take away. But AI is definitely helpful. For example, right, not only before Agile or within Agile, project managers has a lot of task. And to be practical, I have seen one Scrum Master, one PM handling multiple projects, right? Now, one PM, one person handling multiple projects means they have multiple plans, multiple communication channel, right? Multiple reports, multiple meetings, multiple cadence. Their AI can act as your assistant, because you don't need to now spend time, for example, meeting minutes, right? Meeting minutes, if you remember, right, before AI, sometime we used to spend even 1 hour to send one email, meter minutes, right? If it is a long email and there are a lot of actions, you have to you have to spend time. But nowadays you don't need to spend time. But it does not mean that you just have with the Microsoft Copilot and then record it and just send a transcript. No, but have the baseline, you review it, and keep only necessary actions which is required, because AI captures everything. Okay, sometimes garbage also capture. So it's like data in, data out, right? So, but we need to use baseline or AI output as an assistant, right, or as a baseline, and you review it, and then you can use your minutes of the meeting very fast, right? So the point by this example I'm driving home, the automating the non-core task, certain reports, meeting minutes, right? Reminders, follow up with those teams, right? Where if you have to pitch into, it takes a lot of time away from your core work. You can have that by AI. All the reminders, all the reports, draft reports, right? And then meeting minutes, your follow-ups, it can take care by AI. So non-core task. So each project manager, right, or leader can have use AI to outsource the non-core task so that you focus on the core task, talking to customer, managing your stakeholders, keep cop up with the stakeholders, having reputation with the stakeholders, understanding what value we are adding, glorifying those values, what we are adding to the customer, right? So that way, the core work you can do and non-core task, you can give it to AI. Now that's one part. Now other part, to be specific in a Scrum framework, actually each ceremony you can utilize AI. For example, your backlog refinement, right? In the backlog refinement, estimation, sizing of user stories, epic. So if you have delivered some projects in the past with the help of AI, it can forecast or help you by analyzing the historical data, and it can guide you that what should be the sizing or estimation of your project, right, based on historical data. So that it can do. Then of course your cost calculation, any cost calculation, now you don't need to use calculator or something, right? Nowadays you just give the inputs and AI can tell you the numbers. Otherwise, earlier I have seen project managers track big Excel sheet, calculating etc, EAC, all those aspects of the cost management. Now with the AI, cost management is so easy. You can just give the input, but of course you have to still review the answers, or the report, right? But the baseline work, AI can do that. Then your daily stand up, what we do, right? Daily stand up. Now in the daily stand up, so many things we discuss, right? By using AI, or by using the AI capability of and data analytics, you can know how your stand-ups are going. Is the same issues teams keep repeating as the previous PI, or what are the key actions you can take, right? If you have bigger teams, right? Sometimes I know it's not practical to have 8 to 10, but sometimes you have bigger team. Uh, with Scrum Master coping up with all the actions and other things, right? AI can help you in your daily stand-up. And then in the sprint planning as well, right? When you plan It can help you based on historical data and then forecast it. Retrospective, sentiment analysis, right? How's the morale of the team is going, how the sentiment is going, right? How's the cycle time is going, like in Jira or any Azure DevOps, we keep executing, but with the help of AI, it can tell that, hey, your cycle time for each story is increasing, or what is my average cycle time, right? Based on which I can forecast. So those are some of the things, AI can plug in, and then there are many tools are there. Even now, Jira is coming up with AI version, Azure DevOps also I heard. So, and of course, like Zoom, even Zoom has AI premium version. So yeah, so AI, it can be used as an assistant, but use it as a toolbox. As I said, do not you lose your real intelligence by over relying on AI, but at the same time, use AI as a toolbox, not to replace your creativity, but to enhance your creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting you mentioned that, there's just all kind of thoughts coming to my head, right? Um, Constantly now, like we have AI tools, like if you think about it, even simple thing is like auto AI. I jump on it when it's first happened, but it's have really improved exponentially. And there's so many other player in the field too. And imagine
Yeah.
you now have the ability to even with Microsoft Copilot, you have the ability to really store the organizational knowledge, to have that holistic customer service and feedback, because then every conversations, you can pull out my note. The other day I was talking with a colleague, and after that, we talk about a whole bunch of things, and then the notes really help us not to summarize but creating a to-do list. And AI was like able to give me some suggestions, like here's what you talk about, when do you meet next, and then it's just come up with timing. And I asked to find a time for us to meet, and it came out with a timing, and there you go. Like it's just so seamless.
Yeah.
And someone, another person was supposed to be on the call and missed it, and then they have the ability now to go into that not recording to watch the entire meeting, but they just read the transcript and they know exactly what they missed, and people don't have to recall what they said anymore. So it's so fast as a feedback loop. And I remember now, like with social medias, and sometimes we have clients, and we're, if like yesterday, for example, I was training a group of business owners. I said, do you have like a tool? Like, how do you get all the customers' feedback? Because first of all, customers change all the time. Like they don't stay
Yeah.
calm, well human, right? And
Yeah, definitely.
we established that. And so as the customer change, like what is your depositories, like kind of a 360 holistic database so that you can change with your clients as well. And so that's the power of even a simple, just having that knowledge base and
Yeah.
gather everything all together, getting that centralized information for the organization. And that's also
Yeah.
good for training. A lot of leaders I'm coaching now, they're like, I'm expanding my team, but it's only one of me. How do I make sure that organizational DNA, that culture that I've built, really expand, and having all of this knowledge base really help a lot. There's so many more stories, but I mean, you're incredibly kind with your time, Salman. So the next thing I would love to ask you is, how do you envision the future of Agile evolving with advancement in AI?
Yeah, definitely. I see a big future, and I mean, future is always already here, I would say, because we see the glimpse of AI, what AI can do now. But definitely, the future is very bright. I see in all sectors, AI is expanding. As the agile earlier was limited to software, but now agile is all the companies are following. Even the oil and gas companies, you see, big agile projects are running, right? So I would say AI is also part of a kind of agile, because with agile, what we do, more efficiency, more improvement, right? And AI will act as a tool to enhance the agility of the corporates, because then you can respond to the demands much quicker than earlier, right? So So advancement in AI, right? Like we have ML, we have Gen AI, right? Uh, and then heavy computing, like Gen AI. You can create your images, your songs, your text, right? The generative AI. It can create a new ideas for the team. So like product development, right? Product development is now so much enhanced with the help of AI, because earlier product development cycle, the conceptual cycle, used to take a lot of time. But now with the help of AI, if you have an idea, you can have prototype very fast,
Yeah, the PRD,
right?
right?
Yeah, so the prototyping is very fast with the help of AI. Earlier, prototyping itself takes time. And then when you have to tune the prototype, that again add up of time. But I see with the help of AI, the product development can take to the heights, I would say, because it can provide the prototype fast. And as I said, that it can actually assist a agile that fail fast, learn fast, so that you can act fast,
Yeah,
right?
excellent.
Rather than failing
Yeah.
later in the
And
game.
and to your point, right? Like I think it's a tool, so definitely AI can really help. I remember early days coaching CEO in healthcare, and um, you know, using AI to create an AI strategies to start with, like creating on the um, product requirement document, creating a persona using AI. But in the end, the conversation is important. But now the AI is becoming so smart. So really try to learn not to like know when it's hallucinate and when it's not. It's important. And also the input that we put in, like the prompt, understanding the concept behind how to prompt is important. Not just plug and play prompt, but really understanding how do you create an a logical prompt so that AI
Yeah,
become your partner, not
yeah,
just a tool, become your companion every day. That make a huge difference because two people could be using the same AI to create their PRD, but if one person understand the concept behind how to talk to it and really treat that as the companion, the outcome is so much more uh,
yeah. The only thing, I wanted to, since all the listeners who are listening this podcast, I wanted to call out when we talk about future. So in a Spider-Man movie, there is a dialogue, right? Uh, that with a high responsibility, right, or high power, right? Yeah, with the high power, the high responsibility also come,
uh-huh.
right? Or with the great power, great responsibility also comes.
Mhm,
So I use the word called responsible AI, and
mhm,
that will be a challenge because in healthcare industry, in financial industry, there is something called compliance, and that compliance will be a challenge because, for example, other day I was giving a presentation and somebody told that she got a report, and after getting the report from a doctor, there was a mistakes, and she told to doctor, hey, I see some mistakes, and doctor say we started using AI.
mhm. Uh-huh.
So the point to drive home is that n- not over relying or not blindly relying on AI, rather humans should be there for the final decision making, especially like healthcare industry and the financial industry, right? You cannot
Mhm.
have just AI to perform some task, but you make that task prepared and then you review it finally, right? So this compliance will be also one of the challenge for the future, that how to put that. And of course, for the financial industry, we know that, right? The PII data is involved. So this using the AI responsibly will be a challenge, and especially in the even in the schools, right? Nowadays, I have seen sometimes kids do homework with the AI, right? So use of AI will be done responsibly. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, in fact, I did the whole TEDx talk on AI strategy. I mean, even on top of compliance, it's also ethical and it just make good business sense in the long term. You spend more time, carve out that a strategy, and then you think about how to mitigate risk, and that's maybe compliance is a part of that as well. But it's just also thinking long term. How
Yeah,
will we make it like responsible? There's
yeah.
so many nuggets there, but yeah, all my students now, they are using AI, and actually, I'm out, I'm testing out my AI coach app, and give it to them, and they love it. They were able
Mhm.
to do personality test and learn a lot about themselves and collaborate with one another. But I also tell them like this is not the productivity only. Like eventually, it get you the productivity, but AI also really to help you to learn how to look within, and that's what the AI coach app is all about. But
Yeah.
that's another story. I'm just passionate about this. So, thank you so again, Samant. And before we end today, I'd love to hear about your advice for program managers. So, what advice would you give to program managers looking into incorporate AI into their Agile practice?
Okay. Yeah, definitely. The number one advice is education, because do not just jump into some implementation unless team is properly educated. So the first thing is educate, or also before we jump into educate your team, what AI capability is, what are the available tools, and smartly choose those tools, right? And have pros and cons of both. And then I tell people that before you implementing a big scale, do a pilot project with AI. Like start with small. Like if somebody wanted to apply AI, you start using AI in maybe one of the ceremony, right? For example, Microsoft Copilot. Hey, start using for minutes of the meeting and see how it goes, right? So start small and then scale with
Yeah,
that. So education is first, then of course start small, because when you start small, your risk is also small, right? Otherwise, if you start something big, your risk is also big. So start small and then scale gradually, right? Day by day, week by week, sprint by sprint, and then expand. And then maybe apply in one pilot project or one team, and then scale to your multiple teams on that, right? And then have a compliance, have a governance before you use AI, because without governance, power in the wrong hands, right? And then compliance issues comes. So have a governance model there. So education, governance model, and start small and then scale. So these are the three things I would like to communicate with all my fellow program managers, and then success will be yours.
that is beautiful. Success will be yours. So, thank you so much, Samant. Any other last additional thought you would like to add before we end here?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say that, often say that learning is not a destination, learning is a journey. So I
Mhm.
tell all my fellow industry experts that never think that just by doing one training or one certification, my learning is over. Learning stop. I say learning never stops. So if you have that mindset and learn every week something new, try to learn. If not from a tool or process, learn from your experiences. And
Mhm.
I often tell people that whenever any learning happen, meditate on that learning. That what is this learning gave me, and what do I learn, right? It's like a book, right? You keep reading a book, but until you pause and try to meditate on that each point what you read, right, that book will not be digested properly, right? So
Yeah.
it's like that whatever learning is there, of course we need to continue our learning and keep learning new things, have open minded, and then sharp intelligence. These two things I feel that if somebody is open minded and have a sharp intelligence, you can implement anything. But
Absolutely.
on the other hand, if you are does not have one of the thing, like you may have sharp intelligence, but if you're not open minded to hear the new ideas, right, then
Uh-huh.
it will be difficult. But yeah, these are like some of the key things I would like to tell you.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. I mean, this is why, from the experience of coaching and training and doing consulting, I'm rolling out my AI coach app. It's a micro learning, but also 5 minutes for reflection. How important it is, not just about continuously getting that information to you, but also a lot of time the answer is within you with your experience, reflection. So that is
Yeah.
definitely something very wise. Thank you for giving that advice to all of us who are listening. And so, if people want to reach out to you, where do they go? How do they reach
Yes,
out?
they can, the best is the LinkedIn, right? They can reach out. You can mention in the comments or description the LinkedIn. I also do the mentoring, and that's my give back to the industry. So TalkMate, so I'm a TalkMate mentor. Also adplist.org. These are the two platform I do the mentoring, whether it is your guidance on your career, or the coaching, or any other career progression you wanted to do, or you complex problem in your project. I just do the mentoring. So they can connect within this mentoring platform or the LinkedIn.
Fantastic, Samant. Well, thank you again for a very fun time today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to iAvva.ai Innovate with uh, Authenticity, and I hope we hope you enjoyed the conversation today, and see you next time.
I really enjoyed talking to you. I got wonderful questions. I would say perfect questions, perfect answers. Right. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you. It was a great time.
Yeah. Thank you.